Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Gauravani Putrane Nivase Sunyavali Prasatyade Satarane Om Jnanatimirandasya Janajana Slakaya Chakshu Samilitanzena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Zena Bhutale Sayam Upakadamayam Dadati Sa Pradantikam Vansakalpatubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Papanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. Wow. Hare Krishna. How many of you who are here now were here yesterday? Okay. Now I will ask you a very difficult question. You ready? Raise your hand if you remember something from yesterday. You have to think. You understand my question, or do I have to say it in French? You understand? Good, because I don't know how to say it in French. Okay. Okay, raise your hand again if you remember something from yesterday. What do you remember?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You told yesterday.
You can speak at the same time. That will be interesting. Go ahead.
You spoke yesterday that in this world there is nothing which we can achieve. If we have to achieve, we can achieve Krishna consciousness.
That is the real thing to achieve. Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Krishna consciousness, we should have faith in Lord Krishna.
Did I say that?
Faith means we should day after day, we should do while struggling to serving to devotee Vaishnava.
Yes.
Then we can achieve Krishna. Yeah,
Okay.
Krishna consciousness.
What else? Who remembers something else? Yes.
We have to get completely charmed by Krishna,
Yes.
just like Vrajvasis.
We want to get charmed by Krishna.
And we should be greedy for Krishna.
Tatra loyam api mula mekalam. Yes, thank you.
Vrajvasis, their bhavi is that everything is centered around Krishna. They are so selfless and they only want to please Krishna.
They only want to please Krishna. And because we don't have that mood at this point, therefore we cannot be in Vrindavan. It is only our own lack of love for Krishna that stops us from being in the spiritual world. Yes, who remembers something else?
Prabhuji, I had asked one question that generally we get charmed by.
Wait.
So answer of that, I remember.
First you have to answer my question.
That
before you ask
only,
me.
I remember that you told me ki, to get charmed by Krishna, we should do this 5 things. Chanting, and then reading Srimad Bhagavatam, deity worship, seeing, take darshan on deities very nicely, dhamvas and association of devotees.
Yes, this is mentioned by who?
Srila Rupa Goswami.
In what book?
No, Nectar of Devotion.
Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. Yes. Panchanga Bhakti, very powerful. Yes, thank you.
And no 6 opulences of Krishna.
Yeah,
And
he's attractive, naturally attractive. Anyone else remember anything from yesterday? Yes.
That if we're feeling dry in our practice of Krishna consciousness, it's Krishna prompting us from within the heart to go deeper and deeper.
Yes. Do you understand that? No. Please, parlez-vous français? May we? You have to say it in French, otherwise our little Prabhu won't understand it. No. Bahut sundar. You need a chair, yes, Prabhu? There used to be chairs. Now they have disappeared. No, you had one chance. You only get one chance right now. But later, because you're so enthusiastic, you'll get so many more chances. Okay? Okay? Who remembers something from yesterday? Yes. Yes, Prabhu.
The one thing which stops us from going to Vrindavan is the false ego, that where we keep ourselves in the center and not Krishna in the center.
Yes, thank you. Little one. Little Bihari. Krishna is also Bihari. You know that? Ras Bihari.
We start doing everything mechanically when we don't engage our mind in that.
Yes, and thoughts of Krishna. This is a very important point, yes.
Pastime of an ox.
Of?
Ox.
Aristasura, yes. Yes. What do you remember about Aristasura? What do you remember about Aristasura?
Krishna catches his horns and fed and Haristas.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then all the Brijbasis who had been in so much anxiety felt so much love. And that is the nature of love. Shastra explains that you feel anxiety about the welfare of your beloved. Those who you love, you worry about. You worry about your mummy. She worries about you, for sure. How long have you been chanting Hare Krishna?
Since last 3 years.
3 years. How much has your life changed since then?
Totally.
Yeah. Maybe Prabhu needs a chair also. Is that your phone ring? Not mine, I didn't bring it. Everyone, please put your phone on what? Huh? No, turn it off. Best system. Now we will hear some words or thoughts spoken by Vidura, a great devotee. And in the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada explains that the path or the way that Akrura came to Vrindavan is the ideal way to get to Vrindavan. So there are 2 meanings of this. One meaning is that if you want to go on pilgrimage, yatra, to Vrindavan. How many of you have been to Vrindavan already? Almost. No. This year. You haven't been to Vrindavan. When will you go?
If anywhere will go Yatra, I'll go the next time.
When the yatra goes. And when will the yatra go?
I don't know. Temple will when you will arrange the Yatra, I'll go that time.
Would you like to go to Vrindavan?
Yes, I like to go, but before I should something learn to about why I should go to Vrindavan and then.
Yes. Yeah, it's important to have your mind correct, especially when you're in Vrindavan. And you know what the basic mood should be when you're in Vrindavan? What do you think it should be, Mataji?
I heard that we should be in prayerful mood.
Yes, prayerful. And of course, Krishna conscious, but also especially in a mood of service. Vrindavan is meant for service. What's the opposite of serving others? Who said that?
Exploiting.
Yes. And instead of serving others, you see others meant for your pleasure. That's what exploiting is. So in Vrindavan, everyone is in agreement in the spiritual world that Krishna is to be served. There's no disagreement about that. Because everyone has such love for Krishna. So Akrura is going to teach us by his thoughts how we can get to Vrindavan. Now, there are quite a few verses, and today we're going to go over maybe 2/3 of the principles, 2 out of 3 of the principles of what we have to do if we want to go to Vrindavan. Because it's one thing to go there with your body. But sometimes if we go with our body, we won't see really. Because we don't really see with our eyes. We see with our minds. Did you know that? Because sometimes if I'm in a bad mood, I see something and, I don't like it. But the next moment, if my mood changes, I see that very same thing. And it is attractive to me. So we really see with our minds. And of course, we need our eyes to see. But we really see with our minds. And the mind that allows us to see Krishna in Vrindavan is a mind that's filled with love for Krishna, Krishna conscious. Do you understand this? Who thinks they understand this principle? That we don't really see with our eyes, we see with our mind. Do you understand what I mean? Yes? It's clear. Oh, yes? No. I know you want the microphone. When is your birthday? Yeah. On your birthday, we'll buy you your own microphone. And then you can just sing all day long. And on your birthday, when we buy you a microphone, if I want to buy you a microphone, will you stop me? Okay. And then you can just sing in the microphone about Krishna. Okay? So, the first principle we're going to go over, it's in verses 3 through 7. Akrura thought, as he was going to Vrindavan, so the foundational principle is that Akrura was thinking always of Krishna. And this is the key when we're doing service. We should keep in mind what the goal of that service is and who we want to please. And the opposite of that is doing things mechanically without the mind. Maybe we can make this a little bit lower, maybe. A little bit. Thank you. Because we don't want to do things mindlessly. We want to do things in a mood of how fortunate I will be if Krishna will accept this service. This service is my offering, and that is called seva. And seva is different from work. Work is completely different. When you have a job, raise your hand if you have a job. Okay. And you have to please your boss, and you're doing it because you want something also. If they stop paying you, you won't do that work. But seva is in a completely different mood. It's in a mood of, I am sweeping the floor for you, Krishna. Please accept this, and I will do it in such a way that Krishna will be pleased. That is seva. The activity and the mood in which it's done is for Krishna's pleasure. What do you think of that? Excuse me? What do you think of that? I couldn't hear.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Did you hear what I said?
Yes, Prabhuji.
What did I say?
We should do the service in the mood of pleasing Krishna.
Yes. What do you think about that?
I am not at that level.
And that leads to the principles that Akrura will speak about now. You ready? One time, please. You are really Purushottama. So this is what Akrura first thought. When there's someone who's very great devotee, wouldn't we like to know how that great devotee thinks? What kind of thoughts are going through his mind? You know what I mean? Would you like to know what he's thinking in his mind, a great devotee? Yeah, so here we're learning, so please listen. Akrura thought, what pious deeds have I done? What severe austerities have I undergone? And what worship have I performed or charity given so that today I will see Lord Kesava? Because it is so rare to see Krishna. Thank you. You're in your best seat now. It is so rare to be able to see Krishna. And sometimes when we go to the temple, we forget how fortunate we are that actually we can see Krishna if our consciousness is right. And the first part of the consciousness that should be right is that one should have a desire to see Krishna, to be with Krishna, to see him. If one doesn't have a desire, it's like someone giving you food, but you have no appetite. No matter how good the food is, no matter how nourishing it is, no matter how tasty it is, it won't appeal to us if we don't have an appetite. So the appetite to see Krishna, to be with Krishna, that desire is the most valuable thing that we have. And even if it's a very small desire, like a spark. Spark? You know what a spark is? Yes. What's a spark? Yes.
Chingari.
Say again?
Chingari.
Chingari. Chingari. So a chingari is not a big flame, but yet with proper fanning and more fuel, that chingari can become blazing. And on the other hand, if we pour water on it, what will happen? Extinguish. It will be put out. It will be gone. So we have to be very careful and understand how valuable that chingari is, that desire, that spark, that I want to see Krishna. So what gives one that desire? What to speak of the actual fortune, like Akrura had on that very day he was going to see Krishna, because he was traveling to Vrindavan. On that very day he was going to see Krishna. So he's thinking, I'm just a materialistic person, but yet I'm so fortunate because today I will see Krishna. What pious deeds have I done? What austerities have I done in the past that has allowed me to do this? Because it's so extraordinary to be able to see Krishna that one has to have done something very extraordinary in the past that would allow one to see Krishna. So he's saying, what piety have I done? What bhadram means piety. What good deeds have I done? What tapasya have I done? Kim taptam paramantapa. What tapasya have I done? Kim vyatapi arhate datam. What charity have I ever given? Because these are the things that he usually considered, the deeds done in the past that will award us the fortune of seeing Krishna. Did you ever notice that some people are very poor, for example, and no matter what they do, because no one wants to be poor, everyone wants to be wealthy, but some people, no matter what they do, they can't be wealthy. So what is the thing in the past that one has done in the past that gives him the ability to make money just like that? There are some people, you want to say?
No, I was just trying to say there's a charity problem.
You were challenging that point, did you say?
Charity.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. But chanting is different. Chanting Krishna's names isn't what gives us material wealth. But it's not a real question. I wasn't asking, because then we'll all start giving charity if we want to get money. But that's not what we really, in this class, teaching people to want. But he's thinking in this way. That's the point. To get this fortune, I must have done something. I must have done something. I must have done austerities, tapasya. I must have given in charity, datta. I must have done some auspiciousness. But because in this life, I know my own faults. I know that I'm not qualified. Chingari, is that the right word? I don't even have a spark of real desire. I have so many desires. It's not that I don't have desires, but I don't have that desire to be with Krishna, to see Krishna, to serve Krishna. So Akrura is thinking like that. And yet, he knows that although I'm not qualified, on this very day, he's riding his chariot, and on this very day, I will see Krishna. So what is it called if one would think, of course I'm going to see Krishna. I'm such a good person. I'm so beautiful. I'm so pious. I'm definitely qualified to see Krishna. What would that be called? You can say it without a microphone.
False pride.
False pride. because it is so fine, that consciousness that's required to see Krishna. It is so fine, it is so subtle. It has nothing to do with matter. It has nothing to do with the material world. It has to do with spiritual desires, purity, pure love. Premanjana chodita bhakti valochanena sadaiva hridayesh yam shama sundaram nasrupam govinda Hare Krishna. So when one has prema, then one can see Krishna. So what is it called if one thinks that I have no qualification, but yet somehow I'm going to be able to see Krishna? What is that called? Humility. And here in this first verse and the verses in this section, we're learning of the first qualification to get to Vrindavan, and that is humility. Second verse. Since I'm a materialistic person, absorbed simply in sense gratification, I think it is as difficult for me to have gotten this opportunity to see Lord Uttama Krishna, who is glorified in fine verses. It's as difficult for a person like me, who's absorbed in thoughts of sense gratification. Just imagine, because we all have the thoughts in our mind, and no one knows what we're thinking. But just imagine if you had a loudspeaker hooked up to your mind, just like if this was implanted in my mind and all my thoughts were broadcast to the entire world. Do you think you'd be humble? Of course, you wouldn't have any friends, but you'd be, at least I would say for myself, I would be so humbled. What would you say? Ma. And he's saying that somehow a person like me, as Nietzsche, as fallen as I am, somehow, nevertheless, I'm going to see Krishna today. And this is so unlikely. And an example he's giving is something from the past in the Vedic culture, in the Varnashrama culture. A Sudra would not be allowed to study the Vedas. They could study Mahabharata, they could study the Itihas, Ramayana, but not the Vedas. Why? Because they don't have the right mind for it. Anyway, this could be a long discussion on Varnashrama and what it's come to. But just the basic idea that to study the Vedas, you have to have such a clear mind that you will actually come to the conclusion of the Vedas by the end of your studies. And what's the conclusion of the Vedas? Say it loudly, please.
Vedesu sarvam ahamaya vedya vedanta krutya vidyocha.
Vedanta. And the Vedas is, I am to be known, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So a person who has a greedy mentality or a dull mentality won't be able to see Krishna through the Vedas. So he's thinking himself, how unlikely it is for a person like me, whose mind, he knows his own mind, so materialistic, but yet, on this very day, I'm going to see Krishna. Such humility. And this is the mark of a great devotee. And it is amazing when you read Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's Chaitanya Charitamrita, when you read Rupa Goswami's prayers, Sanatana Goswami's activities in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Raghunath Das Goswami, Haridas Thakur, Prabhupada, these great souls who love Krishna so deeply, yet they are so humble. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so humble. So how is it that a person who is so great can yet feel himself so lowly? What's your thought on that? Today you get all the attention. Yeah, well, how is it? Did you ever wonder about that? Are they just talking and saying things just to teach us that we should be humble?
They were really humble.
Excuse me?
They were really humble.
But how could they be so qualified and yet so humble?
By mercy of Lord.
Okay, that's an easy answer. But did you ever try to put the two together? That they're so great and yet they're so humble. How is that? What is that mentality? What are they seeing in themselves that makes them feel that they're so low? Yes. But yet, the grateful, but they have to feel themselves not deserving. And that means humble. So why are they feeling so humble? They've never done anything wrong in their lives, practically. Did you ever ask yourself this question? Did you? Did you? Did you? What was your answer? You understand the question? That's so great. It's like okay, you go second. It's like a person who has 100 billion, million, zillion rupees, and he's thinking himself a beggar. What kind of mentality? It's very difficult to understand, yes?
I've always thought that they just are seeing themselves and their power in relationship to how great Krishna is. And it's so insignificant in comparison to how great Krishna is that they feel so humbled by the fact that Krishna is giving them any attention at all.
Yes, that's my thought, basically, although I would say it a little differently. Did you also wanted to? Yes, Prabhu.
Also, they generally see faults in themselves.
But are those faults really there or not?
They're not there, but like Dhrupa and Sanatana Goswami, they would think that they had worked for lectures and like that. So they were seeing faults in themselves. And
so the question is whether they're really there or not. So if you say they're not there, then what kind of mentality it is that they're seeing things that they're not there? You understand? So Prabhu's point is usually the way I usually think about it. It is the natural consciousness of a tiny soul in the presence of the Supreme Lord to feel himself fallen and insignificant. And on the other hand, if someone is proud, that's really illusion. Because what do people become proud of in this world? Raise your hand. Yes.
The ones Queen Kunti states in her prayers, Janma Ishwarya Shruti Shrivya.
Yes. Janma, I'm from a great family. I'm beautiful. I have learning. I have wealth. This is what people are proud of. But where did that come from? The beauty, the wealth. Ultimately, it's a gift from Krishna because you're born in a good family. Did you, before you were born, think, what family do I want to be born in again? I think I'll be born in this very wealthy family. No, you're given a birth. And some people, have you noticed, have such good intelligence, they can remember everything. Did you ever meet a person like that? who had very good memory? No. Did you? You have a good memory.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a gift. Why didn't I get that? I didn't get that gift, but Krishna gave it to you. But should you be proud if you have a gift?
Yes.
I say no, because it's not. If someone has been kind to you and gives you a gift, so we shouldn't say, "Oh, I'm so wonderful because I have a gift," because in 1 second you can lose it.
Yes.
You can take it away, and you didn't. It's a gift from Krishna, and Krishna, whatever we have that we're proud of, and everyone has something in Kali Yuga that they're proud of. In 1 second, you can lose it. Some people are proud of their, what? Veer. How would you translate veer? Huh? No, I mean in French. We all know veer means Shakti, or strength. You have to go home and study, okay? Do you really study French? Or are you making a good joke yesterday? Tell me. Joke? Really? Okay. So if someone has some strength, and I'm proud it's my strength, in 1 second, I heard Prabhupada speaking about this, you could become paralyzed and you can't even move your finger. You can't even speak. It can be taken away in 1 moment. So was it really yours? And should you be proud of something that's not really yours? No. So the opposite, it's natural to be humble, actually. Natural to be humble. What do you think? You agree? But yet, isn't it amazing? I find it amazing that although I know it's natural to be humble, I know that everything is a gift, whatever, if I have any good in me, and I know what my mind is like, still, I'm proud. Have you noticed things like that? So it makes no sense, yes? But yet we are proud. And if we're proud, we can't get to Vrindavan. Akrura wants to tell us this part of the path, humility. And it's natural to be humble. What happens if you're proud? Say if you're proud of your strength. If you see someone, say you're proud of your strength and you're known as the most strong person in the world, but then as you get older, some young fellow. How many of you work in IT? Oh yeah. So you have to learn so many languages and it's always changing and there's C+++++++++. And then the older you get, the more difficult it is. And then the young people, they know it so easily, and then you become envious of them, and you have to push them down. It's always so difficult. So Krishna doesn't like his devotees to be proud. Now, what's an example of that from Krishna Lila? Yes, Prabhu. Indra, I was also thinking of Indra. And what Lila? And what did Indra, he became proud. Anyway, I should continue because it would be so nice to talk about Govardhan Lila. But he took away Indra's pride in such a wonderful way. So in the next verse, if we think ourselves very fallen and unqualified, we may become very depressed and sad and hopeless. But we should have hope. And in the next verse, Akrura explains why. Very good. That's almost as good as... he said, but enough of such thoughts that I'm not qualified. After all, even a fallen soul like me can have a chance to behold the infallible Supreme Lord. For one of the conditioned souls being swept along the river of time may sometimes reach the shore. So what's the hope? The hope is that somehow or another, and actually Rupa Goswami describes this in one of the qualities of bhakti, the 6 qualities of bhakti. What's the first one? Yes, but not, that's from a different book at a different time. Kleshagni. And then Subhada. And then Moksha Lagudakrit. Now Moksha Lagudakrit, and the one I'm interested in is the point of Bhava Bhakti. What is it? That's next. That's Prema Bhakti. No, what's it? Sudurlabha, Durlabha. Bhava Bhakti is Durlabha, very rare. Why? Because it's so powerful that it can bring Krishna under control. It's so powerful. So Krishna doesn't give it easily, but Srila Jiva Goswami explains in his commentary on that verse that although it is said that it is rare, it is not so rare that no one gets it. It is a gift from Krishna, Bhava Bhakti. It's a long topic, but so he's saying that some souls have actually gained this. And today, somehow or another, despite my lack of qualification, I'm going to seek Krishna. This is just the mercy of the Lord. So that's actually the hope. On one hand, we should see ourselves as not very worthy of being in Vrindavan, being with Krishna. It is the most fortunate thing. But yet somehow we're here by mercy. And we should be grateful for that mercy. And without that gratefulness, it will mean that we think ourselves worthy. And that's pride. And Krishna doesn't like to see pride in his devotees. But he likes the humble devotees who are trying to serve others, who see others as so much more qualified than themselves. So he says, somehow or another, despite my lack of qualification, on this very day I'm going to see Krishna. And today when I see Krishna, and keep this in mind, when one goes in front of Radha Madan Mohan, today, by seeing Krishna, all my sinful reactions have been eradicated, removed, and my birth has become worthwhile, successful, because the purpose of life, of a human birth, is to see Krishna, to be with Krishna, to develop love for Krishna. That's the proper use of human intelligence. Usually, people who are very intelligent misuse that intelligence and just try to become like perfect, expert animals. To eat, to sleep, to mate, to defend in a very wonderful way. But that's not the purpose of intelligence. Human intelligence is capable of much better things. What do you think? And animals cannot do that. So he says, so today, because I will see Krishna, my life has become worthwhile. I've used my life correctly. And then, what will I do when I see Krishna? I will offer my obeisances. I will bow down at his lotus feet. And I will see those same lotus feet that great yogis in their trance of samadhi and dhyan, dharan, they can meditate on Krishna's lotus feet. Close your eyes and see if you can meditate on Krishna's lotus feet. Ban karo. How can you meditate on Krishna's lotus feet with your eyes open? You have to close them. You can do it probably, but I cannot. So I will close my eyes and think of Krishna's lotus feet. And I will place wonderful flowers, fragrant, sweet flowers on Krishna's lotus feet. And I will place my head, my forehead on Krishna's lotus feet. And I can take some wonderful jewels and place them at Krishna's lotus feet. So Akrura, now you can open your eyes. Akrura was thinking himself so fortunate that on this very day he was going to see Krishna's lotus feet. And yogis don't get to see them in person. They have to meditate and only can see them in their meditation. But I will be able to see them in person, even though I'm a materialistic person. Humble, thinking he's getting mercy and thinking of how fortunate he is. And here's the final verse in this section about humility, which is a very interesting point now. I'm going to read it. Is it up there? The 7th verse? Can you see it? Now, he says, indeed, today, King Kamsa has shown me extreme mercy by sending me to see the lotus feet of Lord Hari, who has now appeared in this world. And those feet are so powerful that simply by the effulgence of his toenails, you know what is effulgence? Jyoti, like that, yes? From Krishna's feet, they're so effulgent, so bright, give off so much light and power. By their power, many great souls in the past have transcended, gone beyond the insurmountable darkness of material existence, just by the effulgence of Krishna's lotus feet. And I will see those lotus feet, and I will actually see him in person. So I am so fortunate, even though I am most unqualified. But he's saying that even more amazing than that is that the opportunity to see Krishna's lotus feet was given to me by whom? By Kamsa. Of all people, it is by his mercy that I'm able to see Krishna's lotus feet, because it is Kamsa who has sent me to Vrindavan. Now, there's an important point in this, that sometimes unfortunate things happen, like to be sent when Kamsa calls for you. By definition, is an unfortunate thing. No good can come from it, practically speaking. So sometimes in life, things happen to us that seem to be very, very unfortunate. But yet, in those very same things can come the greatest fortune of getting Krishna's mercy. Now, who knows the verse spoken by Lord Brahma that explains this point?
Tattenu kampa susamekshmano bhunjana evatmakritam vikapa tatva vidurbi vidadan namaste jive tayo mukti satai.
So this is a mark of humility, actually. It's an extension of humility that when something unfortunate happens to us, when something fortunate happens to us, we think, oh, this is natural because I'm so wonderful. But when something unfortunate happens to us, we think, oh no, I deserve much better than this. This shouldn't happen to me because I deserve so much better because I'm me, this wonderful person. This is called false ego, who thinks like this. But a devotee sees tatenu kampam susamaksamano bhunjanevatme vipakam. And with his words, with his heart, with his actions, he takes shelter of Krishna and sees Krishna's mercy in this somehow or another. That is how a humble soul deals with the world, in good and in bad, whatever happens. So there's humility, there's Krishna's mercy, and then seeing that the most wonderful thing has happened to me in the most terrible of circumstances, being sent to Vrindavan to bring Krishna to Mathura, to have him killed. What could be a worse, more terrible service to do than that? You agree? But Akrura was seeing mercy in it. Okay, now what we're going to do is all the points that I've made, but even more, taking into the account of the commentaries of the Acharya. We've made a little video about this. So you play the first video. Now underneath in this video, we'll read the words, and I made a recording, and some kind devotees from Nepal. Are any devotees here from Nepal? Your Nepali brothers have put this together. Are you happy? No? Why are you unhappy? You happy? You don't know what the right answer is, yes? Are you happy? Just simple, are you happy? Yes, yes. Okay. Now, you can read along, and you could also hear my words, but it's a little fast, so it may be a little difficult, so excuse me for that. But play the first of those videos.
As he traveled on the road, the great soul Akrura felt intense devotion for the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead. And he felt himself very fortunate, for he cherished holding the all-beautiful Supreme Lord as the object of his journey. Akrura became absorbed in prayer-filled thoughts of Krishna as he traveled on his chariot to Braja. He first felt humility, for he recognized his lack of qualification to see unlimitedly beautiful and powerful Krishna. As he traveled on the road, The great soul Akrura felt intense devotion for the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, and he felt himself very fortunate, for he cherished holding the all-beautiful Supreme Lord as the object of his journey. Akrura became absorbed in prayer-filled thoughts of Krishna as he traveled on his chariot to Braja. He first felt humility, for he recognized his lack of qualification to see unlimitedly beautiful and powerful Krishna. What pious deeds have I done, Akrura wondered. What severe austerities have I undergone, or what worship have I performed, or even what charity have I given that would award me the result of today seeing Lord Keshava, the Supreme Personality of Godhead? I am simply a materialistic person absorbed in sense pleasures. How have I gotten the opportunity to see He whose fame destroys birth and death? Seeing Krishna is most rare. How can one with no sadhana and who is completely unqualified have his darshan? But enough of such thoughts. Akrura checked himself. After all, even a fallen soul like me can behold the infallible Supreme Lord. For even a conditioned soul, like a log swept along in the fast currents of a river, may sometimes reach the shore. By Krishna's grace, anything is possible, for my Lord never deviates from his glorious quality of being merciful, and he never fails to respond to a person's sincere worship, feeble as that worship may be. Yes, today I will see Krishna because of Krishna's qualities of mercy and compassion. Today, my birth will become successful, for I will be able to directly offer my obeisances at Krishna's lotus feet, even though great mystic yogis are only able to meditate on them, but cannot directly see them. Astonishingly, today, the cause of my being blessed to see Krishna is that I am the recipient of the mercy of Kamsa of all people. For Kamsa himself has sent me to see the lotus feet of Krishna, who takes away all inauspiciousness. Simply by the effulgence of Krishna's toenails, many souls in the past have transcended the insurmountable darkness of material existence and have attained him. And yet, it is that rascal demon Kamsa who has created this fortune for me. Astonishing. So this was like a summary of all we spoke about humility. What did you think? There's one comment by Srila Jiva Goswami that I put in there, but I wanted to just read it because it gives us so much hope. He says, "The Lord never deviates." Who can translate this into Hindi as we're saying it? The Lord never deviates.
भगवान कभी भ्रमित नहीं होते। भगवान कभी अपने पद से
from his glorious qualities like mercy,
अपनी कृपा से विशेष गुणों से विशेष कृपा से
as he responds to one's worship, even if that worship is very weak.
अगर कोई कुछ कमजोरी के साथ भी अगर भक्ति कर रहा है तो भी भगवान उसके साथ आदान प्रदान करते हैं.
So Krishna responds
to someone's attempt to serve him because he is very merciful. Even if our attempt is very durbal, weak, Krishna responds in a wonderful way, because not that our worship is always so powerful, sometimes again it is very weak, but because he is very kind and merciful. When you hear that, what do you think? Next one. What do you think when you hear that? You think you're shy. I think you're shy. But what do you think about that point? You can take some time and think, okay? But then I'm going to ask you, what do you think? What do you think about that point? Okay, what do you think about that point? I know what you think about it, Purushottam Prabhu. Now, what do you think about that point? That? Say again.
Lord's mercies.
Yeah, that Krishna is very merciful. Kamba Dayalum Sharanam Brajema. Who could find a more merciful Lord than he? What do you think? Hope giving, yes. What do you think? Yes.
Seeing Krishna is rare.
Is what? Great.
Rare.
Rare. Seeing Krishna is rare, but he's very merciful. What do you think when you hear that?
Prabhuji, merciful and hopeful for us.
Hope giving. Okay, now say that not in Nepali but in English. No, because I say it a little slower, please. The Lord has so many pure devotees.
I can see the Lord, so I have.
But in case, yeah, still you can see him. Why? Yes, very good. You have understood perfectly. So humility has such a blessing attached to it. Okay, now I want to go on to the next section because there's 3 sections, 3 principles. The first one, if you want to get to Braj, the first is humility, because if you're humble, then you can get the mercy of the Lord. If you're proud, Krishna will think, well, he's so wonderful, he doesn't need my mercy. Now, in the next verse, Akrura continues. Now, I'm going to read these a little quickly. Indeed, those lotus feet that I will see, they're worshipped by Brahma, Shiva, and all the other demigods. They're worshipped by the goddess of fortune, and also by the great sages and Vaishnavas. And upon those lotus feet, the Lord walks about the forest while herding the cows with his companions, and those feet are smeared with the kumkum from the gopi's breast. Surely I shall see the face of Lord Mukunda, since the deer are now walking past me on my right, and that face, framed by his curly hair, is beautified by his attractive cheeks and nose, his smiling glances, and his reddish lotus eyes. I'm going to see the Supreme Lord Vishnu, the reservoir of all beauty, who by his own sweet will has now assumed a human-like form to relieve the earth of her burden. And thus there is no denying that my eyes will achieve the perfection of their existence. He is the witness of material cause and effect, yet he is always free from false identification with them. By his internal potency, he dispels the darkness of separation and confusion. The individual souls in this world who are manifested here, when he glances upon the material creative energy, they indirectly perceive him in the activities of their life airs, senses, and intelligence. We could give many classes on these points, but I wanted to make a point. All sins are destroyed, and all good fortune is created by the Supreme Lord's qualities, activities, and appearances. And words that describe these three things, they animate, bring to life, beautify, and purify the world. On the other hand, words bereft without his glories are the decorations, like the decorations on a dead body, a corpse. And that same Supreme Lord has descended into the dynasty of the Sattvatas, the Jadu dynasty, to delight the exalted demigods who maintain the principles of religion he has created. And residing in Vrindavan, he spreads his fame, which the demigods glorify in song, and which brings auspiciousness to all. Now, I read this fast, these verses fast, but I want you to notice there's 3 points actually. One is that he is the cause of everything in existence. All living entities come from his glance. They go back into him at the time of the destruction of the universe. He is the Lord of cause and effect. He's the Lord of karma. Our senses have their power because of him. Our intelligence have their power because of him, has its power. And there's a third thing that he said, our activities, our prana. We can do things. How amazing it is. I say, what's this? I'll show you a miracle. Hand, move into the air. Just by my saying that, my hand moves into the air. Just by my desiring it, it moves. My desire is moving my body. Watch. How does that thought transfer into action? This is quite amazing. How can I see? I'm looking, I'm seeing, and it's entering my consciousness. How does this happen? We don't think about it, but it's actually amazing. It's actually miraculous. And then, how can we even do things in our life? We need prana to do that. And Krishna is the source of that prana. And if Krishna withdraws the prana from your body, can you do anything? Have any of you ever become ill, sick, and then, you can't even move? The prana is taken from the body. So this all-powerful person, that's not all he's saying. The first point in this, he's so powerful. And yet, he's playing in Vrindavan like a cowherd boy. Isha chestita. Gramyavan, Gramya. He's acting like an ordinary cowherd boy in Vrindavan, herding the cows with his friends. And yet he's all powerful. Yet he's in Vrindavan playing like a cowherd boy, walking without shoes even. So he's setting up a contrast for us to meditate upon. Krishna's playing in Vrindavan. He's playing his flute. He's dancing with the gopis. He's getting chastised by Mother Yashoda. He's herding the bulls, the cows, the calves, stealing what? Kya chor? Kya chor? Krishna kya chor hai? Yeah. And yet, at the same time, he's the all-powerful Supreme Personality of Godhead in charge of the creation, destruction, maintenance, giving life to all living entities, and yet he's playing like a cowherd boy. He wants us to meditate upon this, and this is the second thought that he's telling us. If you want to get to Vrindavan, you have to meditate upon Krishna and his amazing pastimes in Vrindavan that he performs, even though he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all-powerful. One has to think about these things and understand why. Janma karma chame divyam takfade. And just by understanding this, you can be out of the material world. But you must think about these wonderful pastimes and qualities of Krishna on both sides, his power side and his sweetness side. Now, that's 2 points. Power side, sweetness side. But I said there was a third point. Do you know what that third point is? This is a new point. And that third point is that you can associate with him. It says it in one of the verses, by hearing and chanting his glories. Because we may think, oh, Akrura can meditate upon him because he's going to see Krishna in Vrindavan. But I don't have that kind of fortune. I'm not a great devotee like Akrura. But he's saying you can actually be with Krishna in Vrindavan by hearing about Krishna. You can actually be in Krishna's presence by hearing about him. And be amazed at that presence, that he's all-powerful, yet playing like a cowherd boy. And what causes him to do that? Do you know? You have to hear and learn. Why does Krishna do this? Would you like to know? Would you like to really know? Then you have to study and hear. Okay, so now we'll just play the second of the videos, which tell these same points mixed with the comments of the acharyas. Translation is going on right over here. We should actually give you the microphone, maybe. Number 2. Should we turn off the light?
Lotus are worshipped by Brahma, Shiva, and all the other devatas, by Lakshmi and her associates, and by devotees throughout the world. Yet, those same feet walk barefoot in the forest while he herds the cows with his cowherd friends. Oh, how the prema of his devotees controls my Lord. How exalted in excellence are the people of Gokul. They are the most superior. Today, I shall not only see the lotus feet of Krishna, I shall also see his face, a slight smile of which reveals his jasmine bud-like teeth. I can foretell this because the deer now walk past me on my right. Krishna's face, framed by his curly hair, is beautified by his attractive cheeks and nose, his smiling glances, and his reddish lotus eyes. Today, I will see Krishna, whose powers are spread everywhere, who is the reservoir of all beauty, and who by his own sweet will has now assumed the human-like form to relieve the earth of her burdens. If I truly see Krishna today, will not my eyes have achieved the greatest success? Certainly they will have. Krishna is the shelter of the sweetest pastimes and the shelter of all beauty. Surely, just by seeing him, my eyes will be successful. Nothing can be seen that is beyond his great beauty, and I will see him directly, just by opening my eyes and not even by practicing yoga. How wondrous is that? He who creates the world simply by his glance, he who induces the principles of cause and effect that moves the world, he who is detached from all the actions of this world, and he who destroys illusion by his energies, is seen in the houses of the gopis and in the forest, enjoying with his parents and his friends, the cowherd boys and gopis. But I have no prema, as do these great souls. Will I today actually be able to see Krishna with my eyes? Will he allow me to see him despite my lack of a high degree of prema? Even the words describing Krishna's qualities, activities, and appearances destroy sins and create auspiciousness. They beautify the world, they destroy suffering, and they generate great piety and happiness. They bring life to the otherwise dead material universe. They purify it and make it devoid of false ego and make the world glorious. On the other hand, words bereft of Krishna's glories are like the decorations of a corpse. For corpses have no life, no auspiciousness, no beauty. They cannot purify anything. Krishna's activities in Braja further increase the Lord's fame, which is auspicious for all persons to hear of, whether those persons are materialists, aspirants for liberation, already liberated, practitioner devotees, or already perfected devotees. His activities in Braja cannot be enacted anywhere else. Yet, because Krishna is so wonderful, he should somehow be brought out from Braja. Today, I shall certainly see the Lord, who is attainable by great devotees and who instructs others, who is joy to all people having eyes, who is the most beautiful in all the worlds, who even Lakshmi Devi desires as her shelter. Now, all the mornings of my life have become auspicious, for today I will see Krishna. After having completed the many nights of my life, today's dawn alone is auspicious, for today I will see my all-auspicious Lord. Not only is Krishna's form more beautiful than all beautiful forms, such as Narayan, but it even attracts the best of his own energies, Lakshmi Devi, the very source of good fortune, for she too desires to take shelter of Lord Krishna's form rather than that of Lord Narayan.
First, we must be humble. Second, we should think about Krishna and how amazing his pastimes are. How amazing his pastimes in Vrindavan are, because he's the all-powerful Supreme Lord. And yet he's playing and exchanging love with the residents of Vrindavan in his wonderful pastimes. So first principle, humility. Second principle, he's given. And the third principle we shall hear tomorrow. Thank you. Any questions? We have a few minutes of questions. Yes, Prabhu. Were you able to follow things on that video? It was okay?
Yes, Bhajan.
Were you able to understand my accent and words? Okay. You too? Little? Ektu. Tora. Yes, Prabhu.
So wonderfully explained, Paji, like how to be humble and to think about Krishna. So my question is, Paji, you told like, just think about Krishna's pastime, how wonderful it is. So how we can meditate on the pastime of Krishna? Like, it's like, as a question.
First we have to hear them. That's the main thing. We have to hear about Krishna from the beginning of the Bhagavatam to the end of the Bhagavatam. And then our mind can be filled with all the different pastimes, qualities, forms, and names of the Supreme Lord. And if we try to just jump right to Rasa Leela or something like that, we'll misunderstand everything. So you say, how can we do it? So one way to understand that question is that I have so much service all day long. But you should remember what you're doing. Say if you're distributing a book, what you're doing is giving a person the opportunity to hear about Krishna, the Supreme Lord. If you could help with a small donation, that would be good. I need it. Raise your hand if you have a full set of Prabhupada's books in your house, of course. Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nice. You live in the base. Okay. You have everything there. So, does that answer your question? We should be conscious of what we are doing and who we're doing it for. And that means that we should be conscious of Krishna. We should know how wonderful Krishna is. His power, his name, his pastimes, everything. Do you think it is amazing? Because Brahma thought it was amazing that this little boy is my Lord. But we have to be conscious and think about these things. Otherwise, what will our mind think about? Yes.
I really appreciate how you really find the depth of meaning and you're studying the Bhagavatam and your books have kind of done this. I was wondering if you could just give some insights on how in our general reading the Bhagavatam we can have a deeper study to extract these principles the way that you've been doing in this seminar.
Read carefully. Understand that everything has meaning, deep meaning. And trust that if you read carefully, Krishna can reveal deep meaning to you. But your question is a funny one, in the sense that you're asking me, how could you read with the depth that I read with? So how can I answer that question? Because how could I answer that question as if I have great depth? Because I read. That's the first principle. I read and I think about it, but I will give you a hint. In the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, when Sukadev Goswami is beginning to describe the pastimes of Krishna, in the first chapter, he explains in our Acharya's comment that there are three people who benefit the most from a class. There's the speaker, there's the one who's asked the question that he's responding to, and the third one is the audience in general. And out of these, the one who speaks benefits the most. And the one who asks the question benefits second most. And everyone else benefits also. So if you want to gain depth and say things that you didn't even know, then you should study and preach, give class, and try to help others, and Krishna will help you. Is that okay? Yes, Prabhu.
Here we are seeing that Akrura is coming to Vrindavan, and he's coming from Kamsa's palace. And he has a lot of intense devotion and eagerness to see Krishna. Probably like our experience here in our daily Krishna conscious life says that, like when I think about my early days, when I was a student and I used to come from college to the youth programs and association devotees, a lot of eagerness was there to be with devotees, meet with devotees, sit and chant and read and hear and all. But now, especially as we live in Brahmacharya ashram, or we are with devotees all the time, we find a lack of eagerness and intensity, and it becomes like a routine. There's a practical example. Just day before yesterday only was Ram temple opening. And the thought which was going in my mind is, outside, I was feeling outside people looks like more fortunate than me, because for them it's really something. They're going crazy, they're dancing, they're celebrating, they're crying, they're shouting. And for me, I felt it's like just another day went by. I did my morning program chanting, I took my prasadam, I did my service. Okay, temple opened. So how that initial eagerness we have, how to continue it, and how to not become hopeless experiencing this kind of flat face, because we also have that because of anarthas, this comes and again. But sometimes it really appears like life is just going on and that feeling doesn't appear. Although we are really, in fact we daily read and we have reading quota, hearing quota, but it becomes more of a routine, and this kind of intense which we experienced in the beginning is not experienceable now.
So this is a question that almost all the devotees have in a similar way. See, Krishna consciousness is very mysterious. In some ways, it's the opposite of what you think. What I mean to say is that if you have your goal as making money, the more money you make, you feel that you're getting closer to your goal. You follow me? So if you want to be crorepati, the more money you make, you feel you're getting closer to being a crorepati. But in Krishna consciousness, the closer you get, the further away you feel. But two things are going on simultaneously. Not only you feel further away, but your desire is also increasing. So when you first came, maybe there was relief from material miseries. There was prasadam, and you were satisfied by the contrast between material life and spiritual life. But you really didn't know anything about Krishna. So the two should go on simultaneously, the same time. One, our desires should be increasing, and the second, our humility should be increasing. Our feeling a lack of qualification and lack of Krishna consciousness, lack of prema, and that tension between the two should be increasing. The desire increasing and the lack of qualification increasing, feeling that, until one almost goes mad and begs and begs and begs and chants with that mood, oh Krishna, unless you are merciful to me, what hope do I have? Somehow I'm attracted by mercy, I have attraction, but I have so much fallen qualities. Unless you're merciful to me, when you're chanting, it's calling like that. When you're standing in front of the deities and calling out to them, begging them for mercy, and being so thankful that you have an opportunity to serve others who are more qualified than you. Like the people in the bases in the corporate preaching that you do. You see that they have so many good qualifications, probably only if they could be serving Krishna, then you feel, I have no good qualifications. So this is the formula for success, difficult as it is. So don't worry, don't be afraid, because the humility, the negative, like in a magnet, attracts the positive of mercy. But don't become discouraged. Hear more about Krishna. Become attracted to Krishna. Somehow let that spark come into more flames. And somehow become more and more humble. Even Mahaprabhu said this. Na prema gandha. I don't even have the fragrance. Say if you put some rose water in a bottle, and then you have a bottle of rose water, and then you pour out the rose water, you don't have the rose water, gulab jal, gulab pani. Then you pour it out, but still you can smell it in the jar. So Mahaprabhu says, not only don't I have prema, but I don't even have the fragrance. So how is it possible? Mahaprabhu is crying all the time. Tears are erupting. So it's quite inconceivable. So by good association, by hearing, by prayer, by sometimes a little crying from your tears from your eyes when chanting in front of the deities, in front of the, that's a secret. So you can't tell anyone, okay? Last question. Yes, Prabhu. What is your name? Good name? Amma Narayan? I can't do it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, that I can say. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, Krishna's fame destroys birth and death.
Yes.
Please explain, Prabhu.
His glories. If you hear about Krishna and how wonderful he is and how famous he is for his great deeds, his beauty, his mercy, you become attracted to him. And by being attracted to Krishna, your attraction to the world of Maya will become less. And when you're not attracted to the world of Maya and you're attracted to Krishna, there's no need for you to take birth in this world. We want to become attracted to Krishna. It is necessary. And therefore, Ihan Mali Nitya Seichi Shravanadijal. We have to water our devotional kripa with hearing and chanting about Krishna. But good question. Is my answer okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Look, you're right under the Goswamis. You're getting their mercy.
Prabhu, another question, Prabhu.
Huh?
One more question, Prabhu.
No, only one you get. You have to save one for tomorrow. Because one reason is my voice isn't very strong. Will you remember it for tomorrow? I know who you could. What's your name again, Prabhu? Your name? Tarun Mohan Das. You know Tarun Mohan Das, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
You should ask him the question.
Okay,
Right
Prabhu.
after. He is Shastri. Very good devotee. Okay? Thank you very much. So if you come tomorrow, we'll end this presentation and I will tell you the third secret of getting to Vrindavan. But before I tell you the third, I'm going to ask you if you remember the first two. And if you don't remember the first two, you have Tarun Mohan Prabhu or other devotees who remember things. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji is there for